Retro Red here coming at you with episode 5 of Erase the Roleplay a PlayStation Way. I'm your host, Retro Red. I got about 5 games to show you guys. Actually, no, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 games to show you guys and a bunch of strategy guides. Don't really collect strategy guides, but they fit into the whole scenario. Before we get into the strategy guides, we're going to jump right into the actual trades. Everything I got here, minus I think one item, which was eBay, was basically from local people that I know and people that I speak with all the time. I'm going to jump right into my buddy Wayne. We did a trade. I had Gem Saga for the PSP and that he needed, and then he had it Shadow Tower for the PSP. Sorry, for the PlayStation 1, which I needed. I'm nearing close to the end of the PlayStation 1 set. I think this makes me down to needing 8 or 9. Very close to getting it. Can't wait to complete the PlayStation 1, and I'll do a full review on all the PlayStation 1 games. I don't know much about Shadow Tower. I just know I've been watching it for the past year, and the game went from $20 to $40, which isn't a great spike, but for PlayStation products, that is a huge spike in my opinion. Next one is Graffiti Kingdom for the PS2. If you guys remember, I got this a while back. I actually showed it in a pickup video, but I actually forgot that this is an RPG. So I remember that I told you guys that I was going to sell this. Unfortunately, I'm not going to. And for those of you who didn't see that pickup video, this has the little bubble bobble dragon inside it. I don't know anything about this game. I've actually never heard of it up until the time that I picked it up. But all I know is my sheet says that this is an RPG, and it looks pretty cool. So I might give this one a shot as well. Next was a local video game store called J Street. They fresh trade in. It was Dark Alliance, Baldur's Gate. They had a giant Black Friday sale, pre-Black Friday, because obviously this is a week before Black Friday. 15% off PS2 games, 20% off PS1 games, 10% off everything in the store. Special discounts on systems. It was a really good sale. Unfortunately, this was one of the only things, minus some Super Nintendo games that you saw prior weeks, that I needed for my collection. And I had some trading credit, so it helped me get everything. Now we're going to jump into an eBay grab. I had Lunar Silver Star Harmony for the longest time, the box set, and I also had a regular complete copy in my collection. If you guys remember, the week prior I asked you should I go for all the premium and collector's editions. I've had this for a while. I've loved Lunar. I definitely know that I wanted this one complete as well as the Ease ones, but should I get the rest? You guys already answered that question. Now, to get that one complete, I bought it on eBay, I want to say 4, maybe 5 months ago. It was $29.99. Buy it now, free shipping. Bought it immediately, and the soundtrack was missing out of it, and that's actually the reason why the guy charged so little for it. Very depressed, and it took me almost 5 months or 4 months to find the actual soundtrack. I got it factory sealed, which is pretty awesome. What prompted me to look for this was I traded my loose copy of the PSP game to my buddy Gamer Emporium, because he just picked up Masters of Monsters for the PS1, which I needed for my collection. Which, again, a game that's not the greatest game or desired game. It's actually even a pretty cheap title. It's like a $15, $20 game. It's a game that I know that I'm not going to find in the wild. So I messaged him as soon as he posted that he had it. And he's actually the type of person that keeps all of his games that he posts. But just in case he played it, didn't like it, turns out played it, wasn't his cup of tea. He preferred having a copy of Lunar on the PSP. Didn't even trade with him. Thank you again, Gamer Emporium, for that. And then I wind up, which prompted me to look for the soundtrack, because then I didn't have Lunar in my collection at all. Found the soundtrack, awesome deal. Now, we're going to jump into my buddy Mike. If you guys watched a couple weeks ago, you saw some of the stuff that I already got from him. He had messaged me, I want to give you a little backstory. He had messaged me, I want to say, about 2 months ago from where you're watching this. He had messaged me in like August or September. Maybe even early, August or September, definitely. Said that he was rearranging his game room. He was going through all of his bins and totes, and he had, I want to say, a few hundred strategy guides. He was keeping all the individual ones for himself, all the single ones, taking all the doubles and selling them or trading them off. Well, it turned out that I needed about 50 of them. I wind up picking up like 12 off of them this one run, and I'll pick up the rest as we go along. But he was at a local video game store, and this guy was trading in a ton of RPGs. If you guys remember the DS stuff that I bought, all those RPGs, some of the earlier PSP games that I already put in this in the videos at episode 2, I believe, you guys know that that guy's collection was insane. Well, this game here, he was in the store as the guy was trading in, and he asked the guy, "Hey, do you mind if I buy that from you before you trade it in? I'll give you whatever they're willing to give you in credit, I'll give you in cash." And then in return, he gave me the same style deal. So basically, right place, right time. He knew I needed it, and this, before we get into showing you what game that was, because this was a big heavy hitter off of my list, we're going to jump into the strategy guides. Strategy guides are not a part of something I collect for. However, if it's the right game or the right guide or the right price, I'll definitely collect it. Not something that I'm going to actively seek out. I'm not going to go on eBay and look for guides. I'm not going to even look for guide lots. But if I come across them at the thrift stores or something like that, I'll definitely do it. We're going to jump into the first guide that he gave me was actually for free, and that was Breath of Fire 3. He gave it to me for free because the spine was completely broken. There's no pages missing. The guide's actually really intact. All I really need to do is re-glue the spine and I should be okay. But again, I don't really even going to use the guide. I actually enjoy Breath of Fire 3, but I'm not going to go through the game with the guide. Next, we're going to jump into a bunch of little series here. The first one is Wild Arms 4. Wild Arms F. Now keep in mind, he had doubles of these. I don't find these guides anywhere, but yet I guess throughout the years, he's amounted them. Next series we got is the Suikoden series. We have Suikoden 4, Suikoden 5, Suikoden Tactics, some loose individual ones before we get into one of my favorite series. Threads of Fate and Legend of Legaia. Now we're going to jump into one of my favorite series of all time, with the exception of, like the Mega Mans, the Zeldas. But this is like my favorite RPG franchise. No, I don't consider Zelda an RPG. And that is the Grandia series. Grandia 1, which I played Grandia 2, first beat it, fell in love with RPGs, and then went to play Grandia 1. Grandia 2, and Grandia 3. As soon as I get the Grandia Extreme Manual, I'm actually going to do a separate video going into each one of those games because I beat each one. I know everything inside and out. And the reason why you stayed 8 minutes plus to hear me ramble, the last heavy hitter on the PS2 as far as terms of RPGs, and that is Dot Hack Quarantine. This game has eluded me so many times. This past convention at the Too Many Games convention, my one buddy was willing to sell it to me for $90, but the condition wasn't there. I said, listen, sell it to me for $85 so I can go pay the $5 to get it resurfaced, and he wouldn't do it because it was already an amazing deal, and I was just being a cheap ass. This is 100% complete with the DVD as well. Guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for episode 6, and have a great day.